This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts.
Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Asmodeus. I use they, them pronouns.
Welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
For those of you who are new or just joining us, we are a queer podcast.
Pun intended.
Talks about cannabis,
The LGBT community,
and everything in between.
and beyond.
So welcome.
Welcome.
So, Azzy, what strain do we have this week?
So I picked this up from work. We got the soap from INSA, and it's one of the cat food weeds. I don't know why I'm shaking it. There's nothing in here.
That we might have, we're not 100% sure. I can't find anything in our old show notes or anything. We might have reviewed this one before, so just in case this is a totally different batch. But do you want to read the test results?
Yeah, so this batch is testing 25% THC. It has 0.46% CBGA. And then the terpenes, it has 1.5% total terps. The top terps are limonene at 0.606%, caryophyllene at 0.477%, linalool at 0.197%, humulene at 0.17%, and everything else is under 0.1%.
And the thing that gets me a lot with this is it kind of sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
I didn't feel a lot of a high for it being 25% THCA. And the effects were kind of just lackluster, to be honest.
I smoked a lot of this the other day. I think I smoked like 2 bowls of it, like back to back, and still didn't feel a whole lot of anything.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't. Yeah, I actually might bring down my review of it, my rating. I might give it a 3 instead of a 3.5, just because there's not much there. This retails for $50. At my store, it's on sale right now for 30. Would I buy it for that? Probably. I mean, it's $30, but also it's not. I don't even know if it's that good for $30.
No, but I'd be more inclined with Pennsylvania's market price. 30 is pretty on the cheaper side, but we've had a lot of products be $30 and it'd be really good.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, with it being $50 and a quote unquote premium brand, I'm honestly more inclined to drop it even further. I'm going with a 2.5 out of 5. The cure was okay, but it's definitely one of those cans that once you open it, it's going to aerate and keep a lot of air in. And because of that, I drop it naturally. But the $50 on top of that, this is some boofy weed in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is like a 3 for me. It still did something. It still, I don't know, it wasn't a total wash for me, but yeah, the container, the price, definitely meh. Also, and so I know you can do better. I've had their Gary Payton.
Oh yeah, they've had a lot of flower be better.
Their Gary Payton's really good.
I think one we reviewed previously was really good, and we reviewed it higher. Just this particular one's, in my opinion, Boof City.
Yeah.
Um, do we want to talk about the new proposal that's going on?
Yeah. So New Jersey wants DUI blood tests for those that are suspected of being under the influence of cannabis. Um,
Yeah, a proposed bill is wanting to. I don't. This is where my question is: where the fuck? Why did this come out of nowhere?
yeah, like
I get people wanting to oh, we got to make sure the roadways are safe, but y'all have had adult use for a while now.
you would have thought you would have came up with something like this. I don't know, earlier on. Even then, it's not. It's not a. It's not accurate. You're going to be positive.
Hmm.
Somebody like you or me is going to be positive for a very long time, even if we stop using for a while.
So this is the thing that pisses me off, and Pennsylvania also does this with cannabis, and also affects medical marijuana users here in our state. So with the blood lab testing DUIs, it's creating false DUIs because you could have smoked last night. You could have smoked like 23 hours ago. They do a blood test. That blood test will still pop positive for about 24, 48 hours. If you're an everyday user, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
You're genuinely fucked. It doesn't matter if you had a capsule a day ago or you had like a hit of vape when you started your shift and now you're on your way home from work 12 hours later.
Yeah, because you just have such a high concentration in your body already, you're still gonna pop positive.
Yeah, it's because it's a 24-hour use usually, 24 48 hours, but usually it starts tapering off 24 hours later. But like you use it at all 24 hours before you get that blood test, you're fucked.
Yeah,
Automatic DUI.
that's ridiculous.
It is stupid, and I'm so upset New Jersey's doing this because we've been talking about this at least in like my dispensary, and we talked about it a couple times. I feel like on the show, how this is a dumb idea.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I'm pretty upset with you, New Jersey. I'm not gonna lie. Not with your state as a whole. The people there, y'all are great. More your politicians sometimes annoy me.
that's fair.
Is there anything you want to add to that one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Um, I have an update on the Virginia adult use
Okay,
thing from last week. I'm very excited to talk about.
nice.
Virginia's bill to launch adult use is in the governor's hand.
Yeah,
Um, so as of right now recording, I'm not sure if it's been signed because I haven't checked on it because I put this in my show notes like I want to say like 4 days ago, 3 days ago. Um, so late February. If signed, sales will begin on May 1st of 2025. Both the House and Senate lawmakers overcame their differences, competing measures on February 28th. That's right. I got this article, hit my notification that day, so that's when I threw it in my show notes.
okay.
Um, they passed a compromising legislation that paves the way um, for adult use applications to begin processing on the 1st of September this year, which will allow adults 21 or older to purchase cannabis in 2025, which I'm really happy about.
That's awesome.
I mean, we need more. Um, there is a magazine group that talk about cannabis in the DMV area or the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area. Not the
Every time,
Department of Motor Vehicles.
yeah, I was gonna say every time you say that, I think the Department of Motor Vehicle area. Where is that located?
You know, there, over
Here,
there,
there.
over here.
Only open on Tuesdays. You know.
um, Apparently the legislation was sponsored by Delegate Paul Krizek, Democrat of Fairfax, Senator Aaron Roos, Delaware or Democrat of Virginia Beach, passed along the entirely passed along eh, passed. I'm trying to read my show notes. I can't even speak. It was passed along party lines with a 51 to 47 vote in the House and a 21 to 18 vote in the Senate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Squeaking by. That was real close.
Let's see, and then Delegate Joseph Obashan and Senator Christy New Craig were the lone Republicans to vote yes in their respective chambers.
Oh wow.
Um, let's see. Oh, I got a quote from Krizek. I'm happy to report that we're on the cusp of sending to the governor legislation that will create this Commonwealth's first retail marijuana market in a responsible, thoughtful way. And we've done so because it's time to give Virginia's $3 billion illicit market a run for its money. For some reason, my brain glitched, and I thought I wrote deficit at first.
Uh,
To give Virginia's Virginians access to safe, tested, and taxed products, which I'll agree. We want to make sure cannabis is tested. It's free of metals, pesticides, fungi. We want all of that to be safe for everybody.
Absolutely. You got to know what's in it, where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, get it taxed. Now here's my thing, right? Virginia already taxes a whole lot. So if we tax weed, how about we bring some of the taxes down for Virginia, guys?
Yeah,
Because that's part of the reason why my family moved out of the
expensive.
state. Well, yeah, you have a garden that's basically about the size of a king-size bed. That's farmland, and you get taxed for it. Get
That's
taxed for your
so
pets.
dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb.
Really is.
Do they tax clothes and food down there?
I believe so.
That's also
I can't
dumb.
remember. We shopped a lot at the commissary, so I can't say a lot on that one. We shopped on base a lot.
Yeah.
Ugh. So yeah, I don't. It's been a minute, so it also could be part of where I was growing up too, in like the Hampton Roads area. It could be a lot of it because there's a lot of military bases out there, so they could probably think, well, we'll get these taxed, and mostly it's military people getting taxed, and the government pays for that. So I don't know. I definitely would like to see like this help a lot of areas because there's a lot of areas in Virginia that need some more funding to help them. I'm not gonna lie. There's some very even just in Newport News, Virginia. There's some really bad areas that could use some like better roads and social programs.
Yeah.
Let's see. The General Assembly's passage of this cannabis sales bill comes nearly 3 years after Virginia initially legalized adult use cannabis by
Formator.
table for
Furbener.
by former Democratic Governor Ralph Northam, who signed the legislation in April of 21, allowing adults 21 or older to possess. I don't know why I can't talk tonight.
I don't know, Raven.
To possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis and grow 4 plants per household. That's cool.
Okay.
I mean that is cool. But so we need to see more. We need to see more. We need to see like places to be able to like we've said, we need testing. That's my biggest harp with regulation on cannabis is we need to have testing done.
Yes, I absolutely 100% agree. I know a lot of times, and it's unfortunate, a lot of times whenever it goes adult use, you don't see a lot of the terpenes, you don't see a lot of like the lab results printed on the packaging anymore. But that's important.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree 100%. And we want to make sure that nothing bad's going to be in it too.
Yeah.
Um, speaking of like not having terpenes or everything and making sure everything's safe, can I do a little side tangent real fast?
Sure.
So through my job, I got the ability to be in this giant team call with Jushi Holdings, specifically their grower processor for their flower, like the lab, sachet, the bank, all that jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how they went from the jars, which were glass and then plastic, I believe, to the mylar bags, and they were saying it was more green. And I asked through the chat, like, "Hey, how is that more green?" And they were saying that the mylar bags are recyclable, and it's less energy to create. I have a problem with that.
I don't think they're recyclable.
They're not. There's no recyclable symbol on it. The metal coating and the sheen and the paint make them ineligible. Like the ink they use, make it ineligible to be recycled in Pennsylvania at least.
Jeez.
Now, here's my thing, right? When they were glass, yes, I get that it takes a little more energy to produce, but also you guys aren't producing it.
Yeah.
You're buying it, and you can recycle glass for those companies who make that stuff to reuse, and that produces a lot less heat and everything. Because a lot of companies will reuse glass.
I mean, even some of the plastic containers I've seen recently, they have recycle symbols on the bottom of them now. I can't remember exactly what grow processor it was, but it was one of the plastic containers. You flipped it over, and there was a recycle symbol on it.
Air does that. National Selections has that. I'm trying to think who else has that.
I want to say Farmer X. They're plastic clear ones, maybe.
Yes, I recall. Cresco. Cresco used to
Cresco.
have that too. But like, okay, so if we're comparing plastic, if we're not, because like if we're doing plastic to plastic, which is plastic bottles versus plastic Mylar bags, this is how most plastic things are produced. They're produced in a small form, or they're just made in the form with like a mold machine, and then they're good. Um, it's they're not really making a whole lot versus where you're making a plastic bag, you're having to like print the label, like print the entire thing, put a thing inside of it, and then basically seal it shut. Then apply a plastic thing to be made so it's a resealable bag. That takes just about as much energy, if not more, to produce than a plastic little jar.
Yeah.
So I want to call out you guys for that. I want to call out Juicy Holdings for straight up lying to people.
Yeah.
Because like my thing was like, and then my coworkers were like, "What the heck are you muttering?" After the thing was done, I was like, "They act like I don't work in a fucking factory. I've worked in a factory. I know how this stuff is made." That's the first job I had after the military. Heck, my dad worked at a company that basically made the plastic bottle, like use the little like blank things to shape plastic bottles to be filled with water bottles.
Hmm.
Yeah. They basically like, get little capsule things. They blow hot air while it's in a mold to make it form the shape, and then once it's cooled and labeled and everything, pour water into it.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. But guess what? That little thing with all the plastic and everything costs as much energy as making those little jars.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like how everybody's going to the Mylar bags.
I mean, some of them great. Like here's my thing, right? Some companies have seen improvement with the Mylar bags with like take the puck from Strain.
Yeah.
That was horrible. And now they're at the Mylar bags and Strain's doing great.
Yeah.
You know?
It definitely does keep buds moist, more moist. It helps the cure stay nicer in transport.
And it's easier to squeeze out air. I will say there are a lot of advantages to Mylar bags. But I wasn't even going to say, "Hey, why did you guys change to Mylar bags?" It wasn't until they actually said in the video or like the recording, or not a recording, like like the big Zoom call thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until they said something of, "Oh, we went to Mylar bags because it's more green for the environment." I lost it and I went on a rant. Do you want to bring up your article?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was just a big tangent, and I had to say something because that was something that's been on my mind for a hot minute.
So, no, that's okay. I mean, that was it's important.
Yeah, and I just want them to be freaking honest.
Yeah,
Because
like
if they can't be honest with the people that's selling their products, how are they going to be honest with the people who buy their products?
exactly.
And also, if there's anyone from Juicy Holdings listening to this podcast, your weed is not better since it's gone into the Mylar bags. It is still boofy bullcrap, and I can feel it crunching in the bag when I hand it to people. Gross.
Yeah, that lab flower is crap. All right, so I found this article about there was actually a cannabis experiment that they were able to do. Trying to think, there were some special like things that they were allowed to do now, like some things that had passed. that they were allowed to do this research that they couldn't do before. But there was a study that confirmed that the particular chemicals in weed that are responsible for the drug's two-sided nature and the particular strains with high levels of CBD and negligible levels of THC are more effective at easing anxiety than others. So basically confirming, what I was told when I first started into the program was look for stuff in high in CBD, lower in THC. The CBD definitely helps with anxiety. The findings add to mounting evidence that CBD can be effective anxiety treatment, but legal prescriptions and products are still relatively new territory in the countries where they've been embraced. The research team from University of Colorado Boulder wanted to study how levels of CBD and THC in legal market forms of cannabis affected user experiences of anxiety, as opposed to oils, gummies, or tinctures. They recruited 300 people with anxiety, 258 who were familiar with the jazz cabbage, and 42 who had never touched it.
They literally used the term jazz cabbage in
It's
a
right here.
fucking article.
So they recruited 300 people familiar with the jazz cabbage.
Jesus Christ.
This is from sciencealert.com.
Look, I hate to be the one calling this out, and I know it's the kettle calling the pot black here real fast, because I'm a huge nerd. I love science. I love history. I'm a huge nerd with, like, geek pop, like, pop culture. But Jesus fucking Christ, that was cringe, like, nerdy cringe.
They said this is the first randomized study to examine the acute and extended effects of ab libitum as much or as often as desired, is what that means. Legal market cannabis products on anxiety symptoms, they wrote. These products were selected to align with typical potencies of cannabis flower available on the state legal markets. The cannabis was provided by a Colorado based dispensing company, and the guarantee of particular THC and CBD levels in cannabis are one of the more compelling arguments for legalization. In theory, legalization would help people choose a product that best suits their needs. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, because this is also a thing we've been talking about for years on this podcast now, that it's not just THC. THC is not the end all be all. It's other cannabinoids, it's terpenes, there's the entourage effect. Like, it's all a big factor into a lot of the things. Now, I've had people actually say that using high levels of CBD has also done the opposite effect for them, and it has triggered anxiety. Now, I want to say this is mostly just because this is why having a weed journal is really great for you when you're first starting out, so you can figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, because an inhibitor, because, like, that's what CBD works like. It's an inhibitor, right?
Yeah.
So instead of, like, it hitting the receptors for whatever hormone is producing, was it cortisol?
Yeah, this is the stress hormone.
It ends up hitting another receptor or something that helps, like, with dopamine levels. Like, theoretically, that can happen. And so that's where it's just more of, you got to figure out where you're at mentally, use weed journal. But um, I would still recommend using CBD and high levels of limonene in products for patients to kind of curb their anxiety.
Yeah, limonene is definitely really nice and gently uplifting. Like, it's not gonna give you crazy amounts of energy. It's not gonna get your heart really racy. It just gently lifts you up, and I feel like it's nice and energizing in a, I want to say, soothing kind of way, because it relaxes your anxiety, but also that allows you to have energy to do things.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add before I go into my next topic?
No, I just thought that was kind of neat. It did break down, like, it we used 3 different tolerances of THC. So, like, it basically low end, mids, high THC flower. And then there was the control group, obviously, who decided to, they said, quote, stay off the grass. The article was just very loose with their slang.
Yeah, it was it was definitely this article is written about the community or about cannabis from someone who's not a stoner,
Yeah.
obviously. It's like having an article be like, "It's high time for legal weed," and it's spelled HIGH, high.
Yeah.
Like, or wait, no, that's how you usually spell high time. But it's like, um, just always using that or like 420 and stuff for like articles written about cannabis. That's like made by a little nobody,
Yeah, they try way too hard. The try hard is, you can tell it in the article.
Yeah, and by little nobody, I don't mean like they're actually a nobody. I meant like someone who's not in our community, someone who doesn't partake in cannabis.
Yeah.
Anyway, we actually didn't realize how much time we had left, but it is time for our break.
Oh, look at that.
So I will try getting to this article. It's on the New York Post. It keeps bringing up like a Norton thing on my phone for some fucking reason. So I got to figure that out too while we're on break.
Okay.
Pretty in pink and purely wood pulp derived, Blazy Susan pink rolling papers and cones will add a pop of color to your next smoke sesh. Their classic pink papers are naturally dyed, vegan, GMO free, and food safe. They contain no amounts of heavy metals or pesticides unlike other paper producers. Care about what goes in your lungs with Blazy Susan papers and cones. Use promo code BGSOTC20 at checkout to get 20% off with your friends at Smoking Out the Closet. Plus, get free shipping on orders over $50 in the United States. Alrighty, and we are back. Just a little thing before I go into my article. New York Post, you need to fix your website because pop-ups keep popping up literally right where you like move your like you're literally just reading while you're about to like scroll down, and there's a pop-up that hits on the mobile site right where your thumb is all the time. Or it just randomly starts going to Norton, which I think is malware. So your site's got malware in it. Get that fixed.
No, yeah, that's not good.
Well, my phone's okay. I got it checked and everything, but now I had to download the stupid app. So this is the full name of this article we're going to be referencing today. Cannabis Mayor Eric Adams gifted weed bag during first public visit to New York pot shop TAC with no marijuana inside. Quote, "Oh, you need some." By Kevin Sheehan and Jesse O'Neill. Sorry if I mispronounced your names. That's a long title.
Yeah, it sounds like the name of a Fall Out Boy song.
It sounds like an isekai anime. That time I died, it got reincarnated as a bulletproof zombie or something like that. So Mayor Eric Adam made his first public visit to a Big Apple pot shop and walked away with a free quote weed bag, but not the kind with marijuana in it. Okay, so a little backstory real fast. Eric Adams, the current mayor of New York, who upped the police use in New York City, had them stationed in subway stations a lot more to catch people using weed, and selling weed illegally who got pissed about cops being on their phone and all this, who is shutting down all the marijuana trucks, all the people growing their own stuff, and not being dependent on the whole legal program, but did not make it easy for the legal program to like work with everybody and everything while the lawsuit was going on. Did not help it. Went into a legal dispensary expecting weed.
The fuck, bro?
Yeah, like, cool, you could buy it like everybody fucking else.
Yeah.
Adams was gifted a customized leather tote bag branding him the Cannabis Mayor Eric Adams as he cut the ribbon at the grand opening of a marijuana dispensary in Park Slope, the city's 36th legal marijuana store, and the first owned by a black woman, which, congratulations, guys, I'm glad you opened.
Heck yeah.
Uh, he's quoted with "What's in it?" as he shook the empty bag, which was covered with images of marijuana buds. And you can see from the picture, it's just a blank canvas with like two iron-on images of weed nuggets.
It's just a tote bag, dude.
And then
Welcome to the industry. They give you away a lot of those.
the owner, Leanne Mata, replied, "Oh, you need some," before shouting back to a store worker, "Yo, he needs some," she said, "Hook him up."
Oh, he needs some.
I mean, yeah, I get being a mayor is stressful, but this is still a Schedule 1 drug. I mean, you've been cracking down on people giving away weed when they grow it, because that's quote unquote illegal. Maybe you shouldn't get it for free, because you're the mayor.
Yeah.
Now, I could also be misremembering. Take everything I've said about him with a grain of salt. But I know he's been cracking down on weed a lot, and he's kind of a hypocrite with it, honestly. It's like, I want New York to be this great place of weed. But these people who are trying to do it for themselves, no. Yes, get rid of the people who are selling it, who are making bad weed. Sure. We want to keep everything regulatory, right? We want to make sure that like it's safe. Like we want harm reduction with weed. Yes. I
Yes.
wholeheartedly believe that's. But if somebody's growing their own weed for themselves to use, why the fuck does it matter?
It shouldn't. It's like tomatoes. You don't tell people, hey, you can't grow those tomatoes that way.
Like the FDA isn't gonna check my pepper plants to make sure it's safe for consumption.
You
I
can just grow your own peppers
Yeah,
and eat them.
you just look if you're gonna spray pesticides, which most home grow people don't to begin with, you're gonna look up what are safe for consumption or what are safe to use in homegrown plants.
Yeah.
Google's free, y'all. Um, the grand opening comes amid a growing crisis of an estimated 1,500 stores selling pot without a license, and Adams called on Albany to give power to the city to shut down the illegal shops. I mean, yeah, okay, sure, cowboy shops or, legacy market shops, however you want to call them, they're going to pop up. I have a question. Instead of, I don't know, now that we have like the social equity stuff getting figured out, why don't we be like, hey, here's what we'll do, right? We're gonna shut you guys down. When everything of the social equity stuff goes out, why don't we make a deal? Why don't we have you guys test? If none of your products have been testing to where it is harmful for people, we'll work with you to get your license.
Nice.
I think that would work. That
Yeah.
would make it a lot easier for places to, I don't know, get into the business, not have to worry about licensing fees. I mean, obviously they still have to pay the fees, but like, I don't know, give them like a little like 20% off thing or something, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, this is just my opinion. I know it's not probably gonna work this way or work legally this way, but like, I mean, come on, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed for cannabis to get legal. And a lot of these like farmers markets that kind of popped up to kind of survive because all these farmers had a bunch of weed and everything kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. They had to sell their weed. It's not wine. It's not going to get better as it just sits there sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like food. It's a plant. It's going to break down and get moldy and dry and unusable. So a lot of these shops popped up out of necessity because of the farmers. What do you know? It's a consequence of our own actions.
Oh.
And yes, I know the whole New York thing happened because somebody got a group of veterans who were interested in cannabis to sue the city for like them to get on the social equity license. What we should have done is just been like, oh, you guys want on the social equity thing? We should have done that. Let's just quickly add them to it. Would have gone a lot faster that way. I'm just saying, New York. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Let's see. Adams is quoted here with, I think that many of the illegal shops that draw illegal behavior and illegal actions. These legal shops then bring a level of professionalism. Oh, these legal shops, sorry. Bring a level of professionalism. They bring a level of what's expected from clientele that's coming inside. Adams said his message to New Yorkers was, if you're going to patronize the industry, patronize the legal shops, so we can get taxes off of it.
Pretty much.
You're not seeing the type of activity, you're not seeing that type of activity at a legal shop. And that is why we continue to say to New Yorkers, you're going to patronize the industry, patronize the illegal shops. What do you mean by that kind of activity there, Mayor Adams?
That's some fear mongering verbiage.
Like, what activity? Because from most of the places I've heard that are illegal down, in the city, that's like the illegal market. Other than maybe pesticides and things that could be harmful, most of it is just, hey, yo, you want some weed? Here's some weed.
Yeah.
Supply and demand. I mean, yes, okay, so do shops get like broken into sometimes? Yes. Do people but like I have not heard, and if any of our listeners in New York know anything, and this is more towards the city, because this is where Mayor Adams is referring to everything, not the state as a whole, but mostly New York City itself. Um, if anybody that is our listeners or know anybody that goes to New York, know anything about this kind of stuff, like talk about it, because like Cool Nerd Weed Show, TS and Sasha, like friends of our show, um, they go to New York sometimes because they have family out that way, like New York, New Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've gone to cannabis dispensaries and cannabis clubs like Empire City Cannabis Club.
Nice.
And they've talked about where they're like, yeah, there's some of the illegal shops and like people selling it on the street. And I think possibly they might have gotten one, or someone they know have gotten some. But honestly, there's not much of like other stuff. There's not like gang activity. And I think that's what Mayor Adams is fear mongering with, is like, oh, you buy the illegal shops, you're bringing in more gang activity.
It's just, hey, you want weed? I got weed, like you said.
Yeah, it's most of it. It's like, oh, hey, the farmers have a bunch of weed they can't use right now. That guy's got a shop.
Yeah.
I hate politicians like this. Uh, it goes on more about like how the governor's pushing more proposals to allow sheriff's office and NYPD to shut down the shops, which have been undeterred by fines. Wait, here's something that Meta, the owner of the shop, Meta said she is a former public school teacher from East New York whose Trinidadian family member has been just as impacted by the state's cannabis prohibition before she became part of its budding legal economy. Quote, the draconian prohibition laws cost my family almost everything, but the plant itself is a healing herb, said Meta. Yeah, and yet Adams is pushing for more draconian laws and busting people for it. Like, that's the thing I don't understand with like the legal cannabis sphere, right? And this is what pissed me off so much with Cresco that we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
You can't push up legal weed and then shit on everybody who's trying to make a living on it, but can't afford the fees or anything.
No.
Make it make sense to me.
Feeling nothing in the industry makes sense. Not a thing.
Like, yes, per the ATF instructions, I can't go out and just sell booze without a license because it has to be tested and regulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can make mead, gift it to someone, and they can pay me for the supplies that used into it. So I just basically, I made a bottle, and because of all the supplies and everything, that bottle costs like $4. Cool.
Yeah.
My friend, I give it to him, and he gives me $4 for what it was made to make that entire batch, like that specific amount in that bottle for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's legal. Doesn't have to be tested and everything. Why can't we do that with weed?
That
Right?
beautiful double standard.
Right? Because that would make sense. That makes too much sense.
It makes too much sense, and that's why we don't do it. Because, like I said, nothing in the industry makes sense.
And like, just because you have weed that can be made like that and sold like that, it's not going to be the most primo stuff. It's not going to be the cream of the crop. I almost went into a Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation. I hope you know, and I'm so glad. I just be proud that I didn't. It's the cream of the crop, brother.
It does it anyway.
It hurts my voice. Do you have any other articles or anything you want to talk about?
I didn't. I just had the one.
Okay, I have one topic I want to talk about a little bit because I've been seeing a big argument on it again recently, and I don't think we've fully broken down on this. I want to talk about feminism.
Okay.
Specifically, I want to talk about inclusive feminism and what feminism is and isn't. Because we talked about exclusionary feminism, specifically TERFs, which means trans exclusionary radical feminism.
AKA J.K. Rowling.
Is a prime example of one. But I actually want to talk about what feminism is and isn't. Because a lot of people get it wrong. And it's gonna be it needs to be talked about, and I think we need to talk about it because we need to make inclusive feminism.
Yes.
It's nerf for nothing. It's non-exclusionary radical feminism.
There for nothing. Oh,
That is not an
goodness.
original joke. I saw that at Reddit one day. Don't come for me.
Still cracks me up.
Okay, so here's my thing, right? What I want to ask you this: what is feminism? In a simple term, you can do it in simple terms.
Simple terms. Feminism is fighting for women's rights. Women's rights over their bodies, over equal pay for, equal jobs. Like, men do it and they get paid this much, the women should also get paid the same that they do. It's, you know, making equal representation, making sure that they're heard when they go to medical professionals, even just having access to healthcare. Uh, it has evolved over time. At one point, it was fighting for women to just have the right to vote, right? And we're still going through, making sure that women can have autonomy over their bodies, which I can't believe that I'm saying that sentence, but that's still something that falls under feminism, is basically just empowering women.
You're just barely scratching the surface with this one.
Yeah.
So feminism, you're right, is about equality. And a lot of people think, oh, feminism. So you don't care about men. No. Feminism, and what I truly believe feminism is and what it should be is like not exact. I'm going to put this as a preference. I'm just using this as an analogy. It's like the Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter thing with feminism and menism. Just because it's about one group or primarily focused towards one group does not mean it's not. They're not going to do things to help other groups. So, a lot of things when I grew up, and I grew up from a very big, what I would call a feminist person, my mom. Feminism in its bare bones is giving women the choice, giving women the equal rights towards men, and not just white women, women of color, disabled women, women in any way, facet, shape, or form the equal footing of men in any way, shape, or form. As non-binary people, trans people, pretty much trying to create everybody an equal playing field. Now, what I don't see with feminism a lot, but I do see groups that do it, they boost disabled people, try getting them equal rights, because like the marriage thing, we're trying to work on that on the side too, where like the whole disabled people can lose their SSDI because they're married.
Which is ridiculous.
It's helping with like men's mental health and how that's not really a conversation we don't really have as a society. There's a lot of feminism pushing that as well, trying to get like, hey, we should probably help our brothers, our fathers, our sons, because they're important to us and they're important to our lives in one way or another. They're also important to life, and we need them in our lives. We want them in our lives. We need to help them and help get them better mental health. It's not, I'm a woman, you're a man, you need to sit down because you're evil.
Yeah.
That's not what feminism really is.
No.
Now, are there people who act like that? Yes, sure. I can entertain that idea that maybe one person in like 100,000 might do that. Maybe,
Yeah.
but it's not what a lot of people think it is, and that's the thing that irks me, because I've seen a lot of feminist groups who are inclusive being like, we need to help the queer community out. We need to help them any way we can. We need to be able to help them as they help us, kind of thing. And that's, I know I'm going on a big tangent, and I do apologize for this. About the whole feminism thing in general, I kind of brought it up out of nowhere, other than it was in my show notes, because I thought it was important.
It is important.
Because misogyny is a real big thing, but also trans misogyny is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Especially within like women femme presenting people's side of like gender stuff. It's really bad, because they can be like, and this is the thing that gets me with some TERFs that I don't fully understand. They say they're feminists, and this is why I want to bring up what a feminist is and isn't. Because say a trans woman is very femme presenting, wants to be a housewife, wants to wear a dress, wants to be the whole cottagecore experience.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these terms say, "Oh, you're pushing stereotypes. You're being misogynistic because you want to fit this image that men have for women." You ever think maybe that's just how she wants to live her life? Maybe that's how she wants to be a woman. And that's the thing that my mom, love her to death. Can't say that enough. That when I was growing up and I asked her what feminism was when I was very young, she put it to me in this very simple terms. Feminism is to give women the choice of how they want to live their lives.
Yeah.
That's how it started. That's kind of the bare bones, bare bones basics of it. Because you can have multiple different ones. Take my mom, for example. She's not a housewife. She never wanted to be a housewife. That's why her and my sperm donor never worked out. Because he tried making her that, and she was like, and ended things with him. Rightfully so. My mom's a worker. My mom wants to go out. My mom wants to work. She wants to be proud of her work. She likes mechanical stuff. She was an auto parts manager. She likes working on cars. She likes racing cars. But she's not going to tell Marianne Sue down the road that she can't be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
My mom's going to be like, what can I do for help? I have kids here. Let me help teach you the things I've learned. I know things are going to be a little different. But, like, if that's what Marianne Sue wants to do, and I don't know why I gave her a very southern name.
3 names, in
Yeah, 3
fact.
first names. But if that's what she wants to do, and that's what makes her happy,
Then let her do it.
Yeah, like what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Not misogynistic. It's her choice. It's what she wants to do. Some people want to do that. Prime example: stay-at-home dads. Why is that a bad thing? And this is what irks me. It looks like dad's babysitting today. No.
Dad's taking care of his kid.
Yeah, stop that. That's fucking... The amount of women I've heard talk about that and they want to say trans people are misogynistic, and I'm like, you're just perpetuating the stereotype that the mom's the only one that takes care of the kids. That's not a feminist thing to do.
No.
And so, like, what? Why? Why are we doing that as a society? I don't know what my goal was to have this in my show notes. I just kind of wanted to talk about this
No,
because it's been bothering me, and it's been bothering me about like all the hypocrisy that all these trans exclusionary feminists are doing when they're not actually helping feminism.
Yeah.
Because like I've seen feminist group who are nerf for nothing. I know it's probably better to be inclusionary radical feminist, but that's the IRF.
Irf. Irf.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the IRF is also the Irish radical fighters or something like that. You know, the ones that were doing like a lot of the car explodey thingies.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good.
It's either the RIF or the IRF. I can't remember because dyslexia. But yeah, like I Nerf for Nothing's more funny. Okay,
Yeah.
it's more fun. But like I just feminism is about trying to lift everybody up and try getting everybody on the equal playing field, and that's what we need.
I totally agree.
So, for those of you who are using the guise of feminism as a weapon, knock it off. Especially the white women feminists. Oh my gosh, this crap pisses me off. So everything is pro-feminism when it benefits white women. But the moment like people of color, like specifically black women, try being like, hey, this is an issue too, there's a lot of them that go, no, it's not. No, it's not. Stop it. And there's a certain artist, big musical artist, that perpetuates this so much.
Oh.
I'm not saying who because I don't want their fan base to go after me.
Tell me off mic.
You know who it is because I hate this artist.
We'll talk about it off mic.
We'll talk about it off mic. Okay. Also, I feel like I think I might have had some of our listeners tune out this last quarter.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh well, it's fine. We'll be back next week.
This
anyway.
is our podcast. We can talk about whatever the hell we want.
Yeah. It's like that Ted Lasso meme. We don't condone this. No, you do what you like. You live. That was me. I was Ted Lasso in that part.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this. I don't want to talk about it. It's my show.
Yeah.
It's our show.
Our show. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want.
My topic. Is there anything you want to add before we end the episode?
It's Nerf for nothing.
It's Nerf for nothing. It's non-exclusion radical feminism. It's Nerf for nothing. I got that from a Reddit post. Someone made art of it when I saw the post. I don't know who the artist is. Shout out to whoever did that. But yeah, it's Nerf for nothing.
Yeah.
Also, while I'm speaking about Nerf, real quick before we end the episode, if anybody who listens to this has any contact with Nerf headquarters, tell them to bring back the striker swords. Those are awesome. I want my Nerf swords back, please. Thank you. Oh, come on. Okay, but like those Nerf swords are awesome. This is not a nerd podcast, but by gosh, I will be nerding on this.
I mean, it is a nerd podcast because we are nerds and we do this podcast.
I mean, that's fair.
So, therefore, it is technically a nerd podcast.
Alrighty, well, I guess that's where we'll end there for today.
Yes.
My name is Raven. I use she, her pronouns.
My name's Asmodeus. I use they, them pronouns.
And I forget how we sent.
And this has been another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Bye.
Bye. I can't believe I forgot how we end our show.